Welcome to Sense of Youth, the podcast where we explore not just how money works, but how people work with money. I'm your host, Ihan, and each episode I sit down with individuals who have lived the lessons we're all trying to learn, from business leaders and financial experts to entrepreneurs and change makers from all walks of life. Today, I'm joined by Ken Chee, co-founder and chairman of AI Holdings Limited. Ken has trained tens of thousands in value investing, built one of Asia's leading financial education platforms, and is dedicated to democratizing investing so that more people can achieve sustainable long-term wealth. Ken, it's such a privilege to have you here.
Thank you, Ihan. Thank you for inviting me.
Before we dive into money and investing, I would love to start on a lighter note. Ken, what's one thing people may not know about you? Maybe a personal habit, value, or influence outside of finance that has shaped the way you live or think today?
I think the one key thing is that a lot of people might not realize that I come from initial life of struggle, a lot of struggles. So from the early days of, I came from a single parent family. So at the age of 7, I started to have house key to go to school myself with my brothers. Basically we take care of the household, we do a lot of house chores. And I started working at the age of 13 years old part-time to make money for myself and also to help to lighten the family financial situation. My dad used to be a SBS bus driver. So I was brought up by my grandmother. So all these initial years that I say before my early adulthood play a very strong influence on later part how I handle certain situation in life. Yeah.
Is there any value that really showcased after all these experiences in your early childhood?
Oh, sure, definitely. The one thing is I'm very mindful and aware that nobody actually owes me a living. So anything that I want, I have to make it happen and so-called fight for myself. So if I want something, I'm going to create it, right? So I just give you one example. When I was in school, secondary school, I love basketball, and especially back then was Michael Jordan craze, and I think Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan. So they have this range of new basketball shoe that they launch. Apart from your last time we called Panda China shoe, So and a lot of my classmates have all those shoe, and the parents bought for them. To their blessing. So for me, is I have to work very hard and I have to wait for the sale. 50-60% sale at Queenstown shopping center, which is still around today. And I still remember doing my part-time job. During school holidays, 13 years old, I give half of what I earned to my grandma first. And remaining half, I actually went to the Queenstown shopping center and actually still bargain for a discount item. So, and I used that basketball shoe for, I believe, at least for 6 years. Everything, and until everything worn out. So, very grateful for what I have, and when I have it, I treasure it. Yeah, so never take anything for granted. I think that's a key thing. And always take massive action for whatever things I want in my life. Yeah.
That's interesting. So, taking that as a turning point, how has that experience shaped how you thought about money and moved you from just getting by to planning long term for your future ahead?
I think that formed the so-called the foundation when I was growing up. But I think what really shaped me in terms of financial thinking long term, right, will be after my uni. That was after Asia financial crisis, just in 1998. So job is not easy to come by, but I managed to actually find myself a good position, marketing position. But I was retrenched twice within a span of 2 years. From the age of I think 23 to 25, 24, 23, 24, 25. This period, I was retrenched twice. And that really gave me a wake-up call in the sense that, the best way to decide my own future is to design my own future. If I allow others to write me a paycheck, that means I'm always at the mercy of others. And that actually formulate this concept, what I call twin engine. Twin engine to financial freedom means first engine is what they call a business, or what we call a career engine. So there's one, this engine provide you the cash flow, right? For me to plow using this cash flow into a second engine, what I call investment engine to compound the cash flow. So you don't have to do both. If you do well in one of them, you still can achieve financial freedom. But if you do both together, then I have what I call a turbocharged engine, because two engines working at the same time. So it's not so much of actually how much you have, but it's how you actually start and actually let time compound, okay, all the resources that you actually put in. Yeah, that including your own knowledge and experiences, and apart from money. Yeah.
So has this mindset of the twin engine or the turbo engine, has this changed across the years, or has it been very consistent in developing your skill sets and compounding your wealth?
Yeah, they have been very consistent. I need to actually stress that please do not believe and everything that I say or anything I say, but because whatever I say, right, it comes from my own experiences. So it doesn't make it right, it doesn't make it wrong. It's just my own experiences. And if your audience, after listening to this, think that my experiences actually help them, you can actually take some of them to apply it to see result for yourself. But I think it's always to have a very healthy sense of always have independent thinking, a bit skeptical about what you hear, but it's okay, and validate whatever theory that you actually just learned. So for me, is I validate a lot of theories, and twin engine seems to be the theory that that apply to me as a layman person, below average income family, and with no network, no influence, and able to actually achieve my so-called financial freedom in about 20 years time. So that's why I say that until today I'm still using this framework, and I'm still sharing this with a lot of my friends, and people who actually wanted some opinion about their own financial matters itself. Yeah,
I think this framework is definitely very applicable to a lot of youth nowadays. But
yeah,
for youths that are just starting out, when they have not taken their first step yet, what would you suggest that they can do to build financial literacy? And if they only had around, let's say, 30 minutes a week, how would you suggest they put that into practice so that they can develop their own independent thinking and provide for their financial future?
Great question, Ihan. I think knowledge itself is not power. Apply knowledge is power. But before even we can apply any knowledge, I think we need to know where to start off getting the right source of knowledge, right? So my personal idol, I have three idols, right, in life. So one of them is Warren Buffett. So I always ask this question, who is Warren Buffett mentor or teacher, right? Warren Buffett must have someone who actually guide him and taught him, right? Being the richest investors, and I look back and I trace back, actually a lot of great investors in the world actually all came from one school, mainly one school. It's called value investing. And the official acknowledgement of father of value investing is Benjamin Graham. So Professor Benjamin Graham is used to lecture and teach in Columbia Business School. So, and in late 1920s, I think during Great Depression, Benjamin Graham actually wrote a book called The Intelligent Investor, right? So, and that book became a classic in all so-called all the serious investor, a go-to Bible, right? I call it a go-to Bible itself. So I strongly suggest all the young people, if you are keen, go and actually go to the library, don't have to buy, get a book, the latest updated version, where because the book was written in 1920, so the English is a bit old days, but there's an updated version. So but the concept in that book provide key framework how an intelligent investor should actually think, right? And it's timeless principle. It doesn't matter, okay, whether you apply into stock, okay, into properties, okay, into business, or into actually properties. So it's always timeless, right? So I give a concept, what in the book itself, there's a concept called margin of safety. So the margin of safety means that, if something, or the whole concept of value investing, or three concepts, there's three concepts, right, from the book. The first concept here is, would you like to buy $1 for only 50 cents? So Ihan, would you like to buy $1 with only 50 cents?
Yeah, I think a lot of people would take that offer.
If you understand this concept, straight away you're a value investor. right? So the first concept here is we want to buy $1 at only 50 cents, right? So at a discount, okay? So but of course we need to know how to value whether the thing is really worth $1, right? So then there's a concept called price and value. Price is what you pay, value is what you get. So we always want to get, for the price we pay, for the value we're getting, is always at a discount, right? Because this leads on to the second concept, we call it the margin of safety. So the margin of safety means it gives us room for error, for any kind of misjudgment or some optimism, you know. So that margin of safety is actually a cushion for our risk management, right? So that's the second part. Then the third part, okay, is called Mr. Market. Mr. Market means that we need to understand that in all kind of investment arena, there's always this pool of people coming in and out. Every day offer you a price or offer you to sell something to you or buy something from you. And there's always a buy and sell price, right? And in the short term, this Mr. Market is like a voting machine. It's based on sentiment. Sometimes they will be overly optimistic or overly pessimistic, right? And they'll give you a ridiculous price because they're clouded by their emotion itself, right? But on the long term, Mr. Market is actually a weighing machine. So the meaning is say that Mr. Market will price something that according to the actual value. So if you understand these three concepts and you study it well and you apply it, you just focus, anybody can become financially free. Yeah.
I see. So what you're saying is that for beginners, they should start out by learning such knowledge from books, and then after that, learn how to apply that knowledge into actual investing. And
yes,
value investing is definitely one of those main ways of building long-term wealth for many investors actually in the real world.
I mean, if you are, like me, a lazy, I'm very lazy person. Okay, so I think Steve Jobs put it very nicely. Say that he liked to hire lazy people because lazy people actually tend to be the one that's very productive in the sense that they want to use the least amount of time and resources to achieve the highest result. Right? So for me, is as an investor, I want to do my homework only once, okay, and make my money work very hard for me without me doing all the work. So yeah, so that's the beauty of actually value investing.
So talking about value investing, in that sense, well, laziness is definitely a key value that would help people in that sense. But from your experience, what personal qualities or mindsets besides that would set apart those who are successful and building lasting wealth from those who struggle to stay on course with their investing and discipline?
And interestingly, you asked this question because it leads on to the part where, at first, when I first started value investing, I thought it's just about money and actually returns, and a long-term financial planning, right? So, but when I actually delve more into it, value investing in a deeper aspect for me is really the essence of what it really means for life. In life, what really matters, right? Value, this word value, right? So, and this point to a lot of letters that actually Warren Buffett wrote for his shareholders. And in the letters itself, people ask, what's the most important things you look for when you hire a manager? Or look for a partner to work with, right? There are three things he mentioned. The first thing is the person must have integrity. Okay. Second is what we call intelligence and energy. So, and he ranked them in order. Integrity must come first, then followed by energy, then followed by third is actually intelligence, okay, or competency, because if the person lack of the first one, he'll use the second and third one to kill you, You think about it, right? So and integrity itself is very broad. What is integrity? Someone might not be the same definition, right? So for me is definitely a few key principles and values I have in my life that's non-negotiable, right? So, and I just hold on to that values and principles. You will have your value and principles. So, and as long as that value and principles serve the betterment of humanity, do it for yourself, right, for your family, I think that's a good values and principles, right? Yeah.
Well, talking about integrity and all these various traits, So if a young person would focus on just one trade first, or one developer trade, what would you recommend as in to help them in their value investing journey?
I think it's being congruent, right? Integrity to me is very important. It's not just about being honest, it's being congruent. Congruent means whatever we think, say, and do must be aligned. I think that's very important. So I give example, right? So a lot of young people say that, oh, I love anime. I love anime, right? So, but yet they are studying finance, right? They're studying finance. Why? Because finance can make me a lot of money, right? So, but then that itself is like you're not being congruent to yourself, right? Because you really love anime, and your love is not just on a hobby level, but it's really on the character development. It's like you will research a lot of the history development, the different key stake player in the industry, all this. So if you go into that space, I mean, you put your heart and soul and sweat thinking how to add value into that space, okay? I think you will definitely make something out of it, right? On the local, regional, or global stage, right? So, but yet, unfortunately, a lot of people spend a lot of their time actually busy making a living rather than designing a life they really want to live, right? So being congruent means you design exactly what you believe in. But of course, as a young person, I also understand at a stage that you would like to explore different things, right? You do not know which one fit you most. It's okay to explore, but you will reach to a point you will know, okay? Your heart, there's a moral compass to tell you. If you wake up early in the morning and that's the thing that you're not even paid to do it, and you still wake up and spring out like very eager to do it, that one is your North Star already, right? Yeah. So for me, it's about investing. I wake up thinking about it, right? I love doing it, right? And example, I go into a restaurant. The first thing I look at is not the food review. The first thing I actually check is how many tables and chairs. Like what's the operation? What's the turnover of the table? How many staff do they have? Do they allocate about, is it 70% to the customer space sitting or 20% to kitchen? Whatever. All these are business and investing related. As an entrepreneur and investor mindset,
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I mean.
Well, that's it. That is definitely a challenge in balancing being financially well off and actually pursuing one's passion. And I think a lot of young people nowadays do struggle with which to choose or how to further develop, and that's why there's always this pressure in maybe Asian culture, especially, to always become a doctor, a lawyer, etc. So that's it. I think with technology making investing a lot more faster and it's more accessible, so young people nowadays face both the opportunities and risks of such development. So how can they embrace this accessibility while also pursuing their own passions and developing patience to focus on such long-term value building?
Very good question. Great question, Ihan. I think there's a lot of people have this misunderstanding, say, if I go into investing, right, so I only can do investing. So actually no, value investing actually makes anyone a better so-called entrepreneur or master in their trade. Okay, I give you an example. Let's say my daughter, I give an example. She liked anime, okay, and she liked stuff toy, character development. And if she's in this area, right, coupled with investing knowledge, right, she can start to actually understand this industry and sift out certain supplier and actually companies that actually specialize in this area. Example, Pop Mart International, that the company that created Labubu. Right?
Oh.
So, I mean, over the 2 years, Labubu share price have been actually, I think, I don't know, I think it's at least 8-fold, right? So yeah, 800%. But my point is, because the global stock market consists of so many companies ranging from all different industry, all companies, nobody can actually understand all kind of industry. But because you can actually apply your passion and the things that you do very well in that arena, in that space, okay, and dig out investment opportunity. I give an example, right? If you like watches, you like to collect watches, right? In 2007, I mean, me and my partner, he like to collect watches. So me and my partner, we actually bought into this company called Hourglass, right? 3 listed companies that actually sell watches in Singapore: Cortina, Hourglass and actually Sincere Watch back then, right? So of the three we discovered, Hourglass was undervalued. So I mean, I bought in quite a bit and it made me a very good return. So my point is, it doesn't matter if you're a person who would like to buy luxury product like LV bag, Chanel bag, right? There's a company called LVMH, right? Listed, doing very well. Don't think like a consumer. You must think like, how do you apply your love in something? You're a medical doctor, right? Or you're a surgeon. Do you know there's a company called Intuitive Surgical that actually helps surgeons do microsurgery remotely using robot?
Oh.
There are too many companies out there that's very strong competitive advantage, and they are doing very good return, doing very good business, generating very good return for shareholder. But not everybody understand them, and that give you the advantage, the unfair advantage. But of course, coupled with the technology right now, it make it easier to sift out all these companies. Right? AI can help you to crunch the data, crunch the information even faster, but still require your own understanding, okay, in this industry, right? And your love for it. And I think, I'm not too sure whether I'm making sense, but this is how I always share that, you and me, we can be both a great investor because we have different expertise and mastery in different areas. If you're a sports person, you like sports, right? So there are many brands like, we have Lululemon for yoga pants. Yeah, we have OM. Is it ON? Yeah, the sports shoe. Yeah, so there are a lot of actually different companies. Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. So what you're saying is that young people nowadays, or youths, should integrate their interests and passions together with their value investing journey. So that means using their knowledge as a baseline and then further developing into those industries, learning more about them, and then targeting those industries in investing in businesses.
Yeah. So some people will ask me that, what if I have no interest? I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. Some people are like that, right? Mm-hmm. Then I'll say, well, there's something called a index ETF, right? Exchange traded fund. You buy the whole market. you just buy the whole market, and if you believe that humanity will continue to do well for the next 50 years, we don't go to a World War III or nuclear war. So, just buy the whole market. You will do well. The S&P over the last, I think 18 years have been compounding, growing at about 12% every year, right? So.
But I think as you mentioned previously, I think value investing also requires a lot of patience. So I think with nowadays, there's a lot of hype for instant wealth building, such as crypto, or like using playing margins on investing. So how do you think youth nowadays should develop that patience and then focus on actual long-term value building?
I think unfortunately, I have to actually put this point here, is a lot of time lesson can be only learned when someone got burned. Got burned means like, you really suffer certain losses, right? Because if there's two ways to learn it, right? The first way is actually learning from other people's experiences. Mm-hmm. Okay, through books, documentaries, through mentorings, but I think the most effective and the most sure way to learn is you experience you go through the experience yourself and you reflect, right? So example, let's say you only have your saving of $5,000. Yes, your whole childhood saving ang pao money, and you went to actually do speculate in the crypto, and the crypto actually got what I call blown up, right? So you lost the $5,000 within 2 weeks, the kind. You feel the pain. But the key thing is, please do not lose the lesson. You can lose the money, but you have asked yourself, what do you learn from it? And very usually, if we distill down all the key lessons from people who actually lost a lot of money, there's only a few key reasons. First, over leverage, right? Mm-hmm. Second, they let their greed or fear get the better of them. That means emotionally they're not stable. Third, the lack of the knowledge. They're not even aware or having a proper knowledge what are they investing in. So risk come from not the market fluctuation, but risk come from what you know and what you do not know. The more you know, the less risk you have. The less you know, the more risk you have. So never ask what's the secret of how people become successful. Always ask, what are the key lessons how come people got burned and not become successful? And it always lead to a few key reasons. Same for companies, same for people, Charlie Munger, which is a good friend of Warren Buffett, always say this. Tell me where I will die and I will never go there. Right? Yeah. It's called inverted thinking, right? Yeah.
So I think youth nowadays should develop both sides of the thinkings from both perspectives on both learning how to gain wealth and also learning how not to lose their own wealth. So
Yeah,
that's
right.
it. Was there a financial decision that you personally regret? Perhaps it was driven by pressure, emotional fluctuations, or misinformation that you perhaps did not understand at the time. So what lesson did that teach you that others could potentially learn from?
Wow. Let me see. Wow, quite a number. I think the most painful one, I would say that it would be M&A, a merger acquisition decision that I decided to take. Right. I mean, it's in terms of millions and millions of dollars. So, I mean, it's not just about the money, but it's the resources have to put in to unravel what have actually happened. Sometimes each issue can be solved by money when it's not an issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's like issue cannot be solved by money, and you need to use a lot of time, emotional drainage, and stress, unnecessary stress over it, and burn so-called strained relationship. I think that is the one that I don't think is worth it. Because by the end of the day, doesn't matter how much money we have, right? Or I have, I cannot take away to my coffin, when I die, right? So what I can take away is my experiences and the people around me, what I've really served them, and how I have add value to people around me. And did I leave this world a better place, right? For my children and for people around me. I think that's a key thing, right? And that deal, I think it could be better managed, right? In terms of the decision wise, yeah.
Right. So I think revolving around our investing and our experiences based off our morals and ethical values should, I think, be a key thing that we should take note of as well.
Yes.
And talking about that merger and acquisition, did the experience change the way you make decisions afterwards, after the experience?
Yes, it did. I think the first, don't make hasty decision. I mean, merger acquisition on the paper sound very good. Always seems that there's a lot of value that being created. But in actual aspect, in the practical aspect, when two different entities come together, there's always a clash of culture, system, policy, leadership style, right? That's different. I mean, the complexity will increase when more people get involved, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that make the world interesting, right? That make our life interesting. I mean, if we live alone, that's so boring and so dead, right? So, but at the same time, it actually make the whole thing more complex, right? So, and I learned that be more patient, observe more, and always trust. Trust that if the certain value alignment is not there, don't force it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a lot of values that young people these days should take away. And that's it. If your 17-year-old self were listening to this conversation, what's one last piece of advice you would want them to carry forward, especially about money and opportunities?
First, save. Understand the value of everything. Okay? So the dollar, the resources that I have when I'm 17 years old, I must tell myself, it's not the same, right? 10, 20 years down the road. If I see this dollar, it's not only a dollar today, but the potential that it can compound and grow, every dollar become very precious. So don't anyhow so-called utilize the dollar, because the moment I spend a dollar, right, the opportunity of actually deploying this dollar into working hard for me is being eroded. And never underestimate that dollar, because when opportunities strike, right, even that dollar can actually grow multifold one. So I've seen cases where people using very small amount of capital, really very small amount of capital, grow it to a mini pot of gold, and because of that mini pot of gold, small one, okay, allow them to jumpstart and have more opportunity and actually more doors, more opportunity. So, but it always start with that very small spark. The small spark is your dollar in your hand. So I give example. So I'm not asking that you become stingy, right? You have to ask like, like, do you really need to drink that boba tea every day? Like spending like $3-4, right? Can you instead, have an alternative substitute? Do you really need that? Maybe the latest gadget in your hand, or can you get a second hand? Because that money is being saved can be used for other things. Because you're using the future money, with your current resources that you have. Because you're not letting this money either, right? You're not letting this resources either. You're just preparing. But when you're preparing, right? Okay, it's like training a soldier, training a group of soldiers. You don't deploy a soldier straight away, right? But you need to train them, right? But the moment you say go, they will win the war. So, but if you every day let your soldier go and fight better, let them like attrition, some soldier die, but at the end of the day, the real war come, wow, you have no army already. You have no resources to deploy already. So therefore, I'll tell myself 17 years old is be careful how I spend, save, at the same time really acquire knowledge and surround myself with the right group of people, with the right growth mindset. Okay, best to actually acknowledge these people are better than you, learn from them, be very humble, okay, and prepare yourself. Because you're like a spring, you're gearing up all your strength, right? You're like a rocket, preparing all the fuel. Because the moment you press the button, when the rocket go boom to the moon already. So you will achieve a lot, before 30s when you first started. When you start with these resources in the early 20s all the way to 30s, you're way ahead of your peers by manifold.
That's a great point. I think that youth nowadays can always learn more and use and read more books to obtain more knowledge. And I think we should never underestimate the power of a single dollar, as that will always compound to future wealth and long-term financial stability.
Yes.
Well, that wraps up today's episode of Sense of Youth. Ken, thank you so much for sharing your experiences and insights, from the discipline of value investing to the importance of patience, saving, and knowledge. There's so much here for young people to take forward. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure to follow, share, and stay tuned for more insights from voices who have lived it. And remember, financial wisdom isn't learned, it is lived. See you next time.